Pro tip: when a whole bunch of SWAT cops show up in full regalia pointing rifles at you, it is not handgun show and tell time. Hi everyone, welcome to today's research-informed badge cam lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver, and I'm trying really hard to pronounce this correctly. Today's video comes to us from Neenah, Wisconsin. If I said that wrong, let us know in the comments.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video. This is a guy that the Vice cops have just made a drug buy from, a fairly significant drug buy from. And so they decide as he pulls into this convenience store that they're gonna take young Matthew down in that store because there's nobody else but a single clerk in it. So not a lot of people around. They're going to effect his arrest in here for drug trafficking. And if you watch the original, man, and watch him at this counter, he is tweaking out because he has both cocaine and methamphetamine in his system. So they are going to then rush him into the store. Now watch what he does when they do. He's going to go to the back of the store and draw a gun. Well, that was not a very well thought out thing because they're going to start shooting at him with their rifles. He goes around the corner and they are going to then fill him in right there. You're going to see that angle there. We got another angle here from the back of the store, and then we're going to see it on badge cam. So from the back of the store, you can see too, as he turns around, it's the very bottom left corner there. You see him drawing a gun and trying to shoot the officers with it. His problem is that they don't have coke and meth in their system, so they're better at gunfighting than he is. Let's listen into the badge cam from here.
There you go. Get Breezy, get out of the ground! Get out of the ground right now! Down! Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired. Stand by.
Young Matthew did not survive his injuries on this one. You can go read all about it. I've linked the news stories in the description. He went to the big Winnebago in the sky to meet Walter White. Nobody else was harmed in this one. I mean, I think this is one of those things as a cop, man. You just gotta assume, hey, if a guy is this bad that it's gonna take this many of us to take him down, he may decide today's the day and he wants to go down in a gunfight.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. The SWAT guys, they usually get like a game plan together. They have the most dangerous job there is, and these guys did what they absolutely had to do.
Now, I know some people are going to say, Mike, that, well, this guy's just an unlicensed pharmacist and you know, drugs have won the drug war. Okay, but you got to recognize that this guy's dealing coke and meth, and there's a lot of violence involved in that as well. So these cops are taking him very seriously, and that means my guess is he's been a very violent guy.
Yeah, well, anywhere where you find cocaine, methamphetamine, or heroin, you're going to find violence attendant to that. I got to tell you, this guy went from the highest of highs, just completely gacked out on methamphetamine and flushed with cash from his recent sale of said methamphetamine to undercover law enforcement. And he's going to go grab a Twinkie, maybe a set of Lucky Strikes, and all of a sudden, the police show up. The treacherous police show up, looks like task force guys based on their attire, and they ruin his day although he made a decision to cause them to ruin his day, but they ruined his day pretty quickly, John.
Yes, and listen, when you choose a dangerous profession, it comes with the danger. And again, if you're gonna be an unlicensed pharmacist, you gotta accept that danger. Now, I know some people are also gonna say, well, wait a minute, they didn't announce themselves very well. Come on, friends. He's not mistaking these guys for somebody who's mad about the quality of the cocaine he just bought from him, okay? These are a whole bunch of big muscular dudes in vests, and those vests are emblazoned with the word police across them. So he has a choice in this matter too. And I know plenty of people who have overcome criminal convictions, and sometimes you just get got and you got to decide, all right, man, we're not going to do that. But you know, Mike, I haven't met a Mexican American yet that while they were high, they were especially good at making decisions.
By the way, copyright 1997, one of my Mexican American detective buddies in San Diego on a task force came up with that. I'm pretty sure Mexican American. So, talk to him if you don't like it. So I actually would have preferred to see these guys wait till I meant to bring this up earlier. I would have preferred they wait for the guy to walk back outside. I don't think they think he's robbing the place. With that said, they didn't. They're inside now. This guy runs and pulls a gun. Listen, there's one thing that's going to happen when when kitted up task force guys with rifles come in after you with rifles trained on you and you try to pull a gun. I don't care if you're trying to drop it. I don't care what you think you're doing with it. If you're trying to pull it to throw it or drop it or whatever, that's also a bad idea. Just frickin' comply and show them the palms of your hands and stop doing anything at all. And you make it through this. Running and pulling a gun, however, is the most predictable outcome in the world, as John likes to say. If you don't want to get shot by the police, don't pull a gun on them, please.
It's a very simple line in the sand and a very bright one, right? Don't pull a gun on the cops if you don't want to get shot. Because again, as an officer, you have to know when you are authorized to protect yourself. And in this case, it's exactly the same as any private citizen. Now, of course, he's in the lawful performance of his duties, right? So he is trying to effect an arrest on a dangerous criminal. So, but anyone here, is there objective, reasonable evidence? And did you actually believe that your life or the life of another person was at stake? Given these totality of the circumstances, that threshold here is so clearly met, it's beyond question. I mean, it's just not even a thing. We had tried to effect his arrest. We're pointing guns at him. He drew a gun. What would a reasonable person think? He's going to shoot me with that gun. And so therefore, I had to protect my life and the life of everybody else in this fine establishment offering goods and services. So, is he justified to shoot this guy? Easy day. Now, it's not as easy as we might think. So if you're going to be a vice cop, man, your rifle skills really need to be on point, and on point very, very fast. Because those first couple shots were while the guy was moving and very difficult. And I'm sure, a couple of monsters paid with their very life for those. But in the second ones here, again, as it goes and goes very, very quickly, man, you got to be able to get up and make that snapshot. And you may not have time to get a whole lot of discussion through your scope here, Mike.
Yeah, I want to point something else out, lest anyone besmirch the good name of those two other detectives in the shorts who kind of held back there a little bit. I actually really like that. It may look like they're being cowardly or whatever. They don't want to run into the fight. I actually like the fact that they held off. Here's why. You got two very competent task force officers with rifles against one guy with almost certainly nothing more than a handgun. I don't want there to be 30 people running around the aisles of this convenience store trying to sort this gunfight out. I know those two guys with rifles had it sorted, and if they needed my help, they would let me know. I just want to be clear about that really quick. Look, rifle skills at short range, you think it's the easiest thing in the world. It's just like anything else. You still have to have practiced this in advance. Clearly, these guys have. First of all, the decision-making skill. Okay, is he pulling a gun? Yes, he is. Okay, I need to shoot him. And then the confidence born from competence, as John likes to say, of having done rifle shooting up close, not just from 100 yards or 50 yards. Up close is important. Where does your dot need to be at a distance like this? Stuff like that counts. Also, John, not for nothing, but rest in peace to everyone's eardrums who was inside that place when all these 223s went off. I cannot imagine that was going on afterwards.
Yeah, the overpressure alone from firing a 5.56 indoors is going to lead to some workman's comp claims for sure. Probably for the clerk and certainly for the officers too, Though if the officers were really smart, maybe some ear pro, right? Some in-ear ear pro wouldn't be a bad thing in a case like this where you can maybe turn up the amplification so you can hear real well, but still have that. One tiny thing here, they did call him by name and then, tell him to do the hokey pokey. I think just police freeze is probably a better choice in that particular sentence, but he knows his job better than I do, okay? That's the tiniest thing here. I also want to note, he pulls a gun, officer gets a couple shots off at him, but he comes around the corner and look at what we see right here at the bottom. Dude still has the gun in his hand. Now, if you go read the district attorney's report, I have linked it in the description. It's one of the reasons I like waiting on these is because we get the actual full investigation sometimes, and we did in this case. The officer said he didn't actually see, he couldn't remember seeing where the gun was, but he saw his hands near his waist still and keep going. And so he's like, this guy is still a threat and I got to shoot. But we can see the fact that he has the gun still in his hand. So there is a difference between what the officer sees with their eyes and what we see on the badge cam. And I want to point that out because people say, well, you can see clearly right here, but that doesn't mean that the officer saw that. Still, the officer saw him as a continuing threat, having just pulled a gun on him. 100% justified, but Mike, sometimes we expect people to be able to see in 1080p or 4K like we are here on the camera, And that's just an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, not for nothing, but as I said earlier, and as John will reiterate, I'm sure, compliance was an option that he didn't take, he didn't choose, right? This officer, deputy, whoever he is, comes around the corner with a long rifle. You're not going to see anything below the line of wherever the rifle and your arms are in front of you. You can't see through that, right? You can't see what's beneath it. Had he come around the corner, I'm confident, had this guy been like, hey, here's the palms of my hands, right? He would have not shot anymore. That's not what he chose to do. And as John likes to say, the perp gets a definitive vote in these interactions. And he chose to keep the gun in his hand right there by the cherry RC Cola in front of God and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who paid the band, so he gets to determine the set list, as it were. And you know, he shuffled off this mortal coil. And I think our final lesson here is, as Mr. Mackey has taught us all for decades now, drugs are bad, okay? Okay. Drugs are bad. Let's not do them. And certainly, you know, selling them and doing drug buys to cops while you're high as all get out, again, his autopsy showed he had both meth and cocaine in his system, leads to bad decision making. So let's not do that. I think these vice cops, you know, in the moment, you got to make some decisions. Those decisions made them show up when they did. Once it did, well, he's the one who started the ball rolling, and they handled their business and covered their ass.